This is Brain Software Podcast 109, where we discuss cool stuff including Las Vegas aftermath, hypnosis cards, and a dishwasher. Hello, fellow riders of the hypnotic storm, and welcome to the center of everything. This is the place where wounds are healed and sounds are heard, and no one's any the wiser for it. Yes, you've found us, dear friends, and we have found you. A place in the sun, dear friends, and the rain, and a landing strip for all the weirdness you need. You really need us to stop talking.
Yeah.
Into your head.
Whatever happened to that old tranquility we used to know, Chris? These are days of victory, Scroll!
So welcome to episode 109 of Brain Software, podcasting to every single person on Earth.
All of you!
From just east of the hypnotic world epicenter, Toronto, Canada.
Yeah, these are days of victory, Scroll. So where's my bread, Fred?
The Canadian dollar is crashing, and the world rocks precariously on ant-filled castard. So let's get started. Please welcome to the focal point of hypnotic glanation, a man who's put 2 new notches in his belt.
Hurrah!
The official warden of the bagmen of Edward the Confessor.
We are not witches!
And the kid who was assigned eraser cleaning duties at Earl Beatty Public School.
Times.
Mike Mandel!
Yes, Christopher. And here we go again. Podcast 109. I've come in from Bob Lake.
Here we go
Minden,
again,
Ontario. And we're going to do a great podcast.
Yes.
But let's just say, Chris, let's talk about something here. You got a brand new family member.
Yes, after quite a long time, we've talked about all these different hypnotic NLP interventions you can do, and I ran Allergy Cure on myself. You ran it on me because I've always been allergic to pets all of my life. I am apparently no longer allergic to dogs, and yesterday we took home our very first puppy, a mini golden doodle
named Adolf. He's a beautiful dog.
Yeah, it's one of its parents is a poodle, and one of its parents is a poodle. The other parent is a golden retriever / poodle mix. So it's essentially a 3/4 poodle.
Okay, his name isn't Adolf.
His name is Ollie.
And he's beautiful. He's like a little
My kids
teddy
are
bear.
thrilled.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
So Chris finally
Maybe
has
I'll
another
have to put
Y
a
chromosome in his house, which is going to help.
Maybe we should throw a picture in the show notes.
I think we should.
He's such a cute dog. So awesome. Just an amazing thing.
Glad for you guys.
When something new enters your life, it's a great feeling. The love in the family right now is just tremendous. And,
I know.
The 2 girls who often fight with each other in the morning, what do you think they're busy doing this morning before school?
Well, I think Shambina is probably at school. And
they're not fighting, though.
No, they're not fighting.
They're just playing with the puppy and all smiles, which is awesome.
That's fantastic.
What else is going on, Mike?
Well, I'm getting thinner and thinner, Chris. As you know, I pretty well cut the carbs. I'm eating so well right now. I went out and bought a brand new belt at Mark's Work Warehouse, Minden yesterday, and it was at the hardware store. Amazingly, it's 3 inches shorter than my other belt. I'm just getting trim and lean and ready for neck cranking and bag ripping just about anybody.
Absolutely. Wellness Academy in progress.
Thanks, man. That's how I did it.
Make sure, if you guys are interested in knowing what we're doing, head on over to MikeMandelHypnosis.com/wellness. And congratulations to you, Mike Mandel, for being the prize winner of not interrupting when I deliver a URL.
Now, anyway, people can go over there and they can figure out how to do this without belonging to the Wellness Academy.
That's
we
right.
put it all out there for you.
I call it
free.
I call it the anti-sales page, because it is technically it's a sales page, but it's sort of right up front says you don't need to actually buy anything. We'll explain what we do. You can do it on your own. Only join us if you're interested in the coaching aspect and all the detailed tutorials and things like that.
Right.
Everything else, you can learn it on your own, folks. That's how we did it.
Do it. Okay, so what else is going down? We have sold out Architecture of Hypnosis for November. We got a big class, a full class, people coming from all over the world again. Any noteworthy places for this one?
All over. I haven't checked the country list, but it's all over the world as per usual. And I've opened the May class, so I want to put the heads up warning there right now. We are eventually, when I get my act together, because I'm so busy, we're raising the price on the Architecture of Hypnosis by a little bit. So sign up before that happens. The May class, people. It's funny. I closed down November. I opened up May 2019 registration, and people already started signing up for it.
I was really surprised.
I don't want to create some weird fake scarcity here. The thing is probably not going to fill up probably not even before December. But I do think it will be early 2019 when the class is full. So you have time to think about it. But if you're thinking about it, take action because it's better to get in before we raise the price and while there is still space.
Oh,
the
buddy,
weather in Toronto is really nice in May.
That's beautiful. Why don't we make it? And November's great because even though that's full, we get the rain and it's chilly and fall weather and it's beautiful around University of Toronto. We're in Charbonnel Lounge with a lot of windows. It'd just be a blast. Anyway, my point is, why don't we set a date? We say we're raising the prices on January 1st.
Okay, that sounds good. That gives me a lot of time to do other stuff because I'm going to forget about.
See me playing with the dog.
Yeah. It's just not. It's not been a high priority for me because there's so much other stuff which we're going to talk about here. But okay, we will raise the price January 1st.
2019.
Or whenever closest to January 1st, because I don't know what I'll be doing on that exact day, but somewhere around that very day.
Automate that stuff.
I don't know if I can automate a price increase, but yeah, I suppose I'll find a way, Mark. I'll find a way. I can get things done.
Get Siri to remind
All right, so let's talk about what else is going on. We have a bunch of stuff that we want to talk about.
Let me talk about the offers we have. We just got offers. People are trying to get us to come and teach architecture of hypnosis in either Melbourne or Sydney, Australia, both of which are cities I love dearly, having done the trip to Australia 5 times.
I'd love to do
Toronto.
it, but
Chris has been. It's one of the greatest countries in the world. I love the people. I love the animal life and the birds. And the only thing the same as in North America is
birds
flies.
Are very much with us these days.
Flies and Jack the Cracker. Flies and grass. Flies and grass. Everything else is different. But I find it interesting that people want us to go there. My wife said to me yesterday, totally surprised me, well, why don't you and Chris go to Australia and teach? And I'm going, okay, honey, you're the one who told me to stay home and not go on the road. The other one is our dear friend Nona, our student Nona in England, is pushing for us to come and do architecture of hypnosis in Britain next year. I'm wondering, buddy, is that a possibility around the
it's definitely something to talk about. We've got to look. I don't know. I've
got to write back to that young lady and tell her we are considering. But as it stands, come to Toronto. That's what's
definitely. That's been our plan so far. All right, so let's get on with some awesome content. We talked about. Well, we want to talk about the new puppy, which we've done.
Let's talk about Las Vegas being over now.
Yes.
And
so Hypnothoughts Live.
We inducted about 10 new members for life into the illustrious order of the Bagman of Edward the Confessor, including a couple of women, including our students Christine and Jennifer.
Right, because just because it's called the Bagman of Edward the Confessor doesn't mean that they actually have to be
There are
men.
bag ladies too. But it was great, and we did the induction outdoors. We all drank tequila together. We taught them the secret handshakes, the password, and then we all joined in a rousing chorus of When Drumming Comes in Juju.
Yes.
It was just one of the
amazing.
Best times imaginable. Bob Burns showed up, hit his hand on my shoulder, wondering what we're doing, and then just walked away and discussed.
Okay, here's what I want to say about Hypnothoughts Live. In all seriousness, okay, we joke around a lot, but this is what happened. It's our fourth time having gone to Hypnothoughts now. And this time we've gone to Hypnothoughts now. Faces in the crowd had not seen us before.
Right.
And those who had seen us before in prior years, this is what was commonly said. You know, when I first saw you guys at Hypnothoughts and you were all having fun and wearing those shirts, and I just thought, I want to have fun like that. I want to be part of that crowd. And that's why people are joining and having fun with us. And it's not to take away from other groups and stuff. There's a lot of great people, but we just seem to have this label as the guys who have fun.
That's true.
Which is
Scott
awesome.
Sandlin said some wonderful stuff in his keynote to 1,000 people. He invoked what we were doing, and it was really nice because he said he started hearing a few years ago about some guys in Canada who were doing some interesting things with hypnosis.
Yeah.
And that was it.
It was a very, very nice thing that he did in his keynote to call us out like that. So, okay, now we also have some cool stuff we want to tell you about because
I want to promote Freddie Jacquin's book.
All right,
Freddie Jacquin is one of the amazing Jacquin family. Freddie and his son Anthony. Anthony used to be with Head Hackers, and now he and his dad do tremendous stuff. Freddie has seen at least 30,000 people as clients for hypnotherapy. He's a tremendously skilled hypnotist. His arrow technique is a brilliant way of getting rid of pain. He demoed it in Las Vegas, got rid of people's pain right in front of our eyes. It was so nicely done. The whole aspect, Chris, of, it's like the old pain to go thing of recognizing that some of these pains, since they're a message, a signal telling us something's wrong, nature's way of telling you something's wrong. Can't remember who did that song. Anyway, that was a really good rendition of it.
Maybe the something that's wrong doesn't require signaling
Probably
anymore.
Not. Yeah, that's it. And so he did great work, but I want to promote his book. I said we would. Freddie has written a book. I bought it immediately just based on his reputation and the fact the guy's brilliant. His book is called Hypnotherapy, Methods, Techniques, and Philosophies by Freddie Jacquin. That's Jacquin. You can get it on Amazon. I have not read the entire book. I own it. I'm about a quarter of the way through it, but I left it at home now that I'm up at our cabin, and I haven't been able to finish it. But based on what I've seen, it's an excellent book, and I highly recommend you pick it up.
And those of you who are interested more in audiobooks, Freddie has been hard at work recording the audio version for Audible. So audible.com, which is an Amazon company. If you're a subscriber like I am, that's probably one area you want to invest one of your monthly credits.
Yeah.
And Freddie was in Las Vegas. We got to hang out with him quite a bit. He had an issue getting his luggage on time. It finally showed up a couple days later, but he had a good time and a good attitude, went out, bought some new clothes. Enjoyed himself tremendously.
He's just a great guy. I just think the world of him.
Yeah.
It's just him and Bob Burns are the new people we met. They really got to know this time.
Yeah. And those of you who haven't heard of Freddie before, you should have. So you should really feel ashamed of your... No, I'm kidding. No,
shame.
No, don't feel ashamed.
On a scale of 8 to 10, how ashamed do you feel right now?
How ashamed are you right now? No, but his son Anthony is very well known and has written the book Reality is Plastic.
Excellent book.
So Freddie is his father, and Freddie is one of the guys who taught Anthony a lot of what he knows.
It's actually
obviously
Anthony. It's the British pronunciation.
Yeah,
not Anthony.
Oh, well, I apologize.
That's
Anthony.
all right.
Okay.
I'm sure Mark Antony.
So we're definitely interested in bringing those two down to Toronto.
Freddie's in line. He wants to, and we're going to continue to bring excellent trainers to Toronto, Canada, to the World Hypnotic Epicenter, the Hypnotic World Epicenter. Right. Sorry, I said it backwards. So what else, buddy?
So can't say enough good things about Freddie's book and the Arrow Technique, which you can just Google. I think it's at thearrowtechnique.com. We should probably link to it in the show notes. We bought it before they even knew that we bought it.
Yeah.
So we're really real customers here. They did not give us a free copy of this technique, the Arrow Technique.
No.
We bought it and we've gone through it. And I have to tell you, if you buy it from them, make sure you read the PDF handbook that they've included, because it's very well written and explains a lot of the nuances about how that technique works. You will learn a lot and become a better hypnotist.
And as always, when you buy these great products and books that we recommend, tell them that Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson sent you through the Brain Software podcast.
We get paid nothing for it.
No, but it would be nice if we did.
They'll
Maybe
appreciate
we will if we keep saying that.
Okay, I want to talk about one of the major projects that we finished.
Yet. This could be a long podcast. I've got to say one more thing. I've got to do a shout out to our buddy Kobe. Kobe is our friend from Texas. He's hilarious. He goes to Sasquatch conferences. As the first words he said to me, for fun. First thing he said to me was, "I'm a huge Dave Ambrose fan."
Oh yeah.
Which now when I do Dave Ambrose, no, I didn't say that, did I? I see Kobe's face. But Chris and I went and had dinner with him, and he went to the expense of buying us each these remarkable presents. This J.R. Ewing whiskey, a bottle each, and it was phenomenal. Chris hasn't tried it yet.
I haven't opened it yet. I'm waiting.
Such a kindness. He's just a great guy. Shout out to you, bro.
He told us the best stories about these podcasts that he's been listening to about Sasquatch sightings and stuff. I think I got the best ab workout of my life.
Oh man, I just howled over dinner.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable. So thanks to Kobe for amazing dinner experience.
We love you, bro.
Yeah, man. Okay, so now I want to talk about the Ericksonian language pattern cards that we've created. Many, many years of teaching hypnosis class, and every time we'd teach, you would bring up, for example, the Zebu cards, which is a regular pack of playing cards that you could play poker, crazy eights, or whatever you want to play.
Yeah.
And the idea being that each card has an individual language pattern on it. So it might be a cause and effect pattern or a tag question or a string sentence or whatever it is. And the idea being you could sit around with a bunch of fellow hypnotists and play a game of cards. And every time you discard, you would use the pattern on that card in a sentence. So at part of your normal conversation, you would just use these patterns and practice your technique. Or you could grab one of the cards from the deck, stick it in your shirt pocket, carry it around all day, and use it many, many times throughout the day to get better at hypnosis. So years and years and years of us talking about other people's cards that are no longer available, like these Zebu cards, I think are pretty much out of print, right,
Yeah,
Mike?
I think so.
So we created our own. The Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy Hypnotic Language Cards, and you can check them out at MikeMandelHypnosis.com/cards. They ship anywhere in the world, and they're awesome. Now, here's the cool thing. Cards have patterns on them. The patterns are in and of themselves, they are just a pattern. There's no content, right? So we're not telling you what the string sentence contains or what the tag question is. The patterns are a pattern, whereas the flip side of that coin is giving you the words without the linguistic ties, how to put them together. And that's what our Nuvi induction is all about.
So the cards give you the pattern, and the Nuvi induction gives you the words.
Right.
And when
so
you put them
if
together,
you practice them both,
power.
Not at the same time, but if you practice the Nuvi induction using the Nuvi app that we created for the iPhone and soon to be on Android, and if you also practice patterns using these cards, you have this 1-2 punch that gives you an amazing Lego-like combination of hypnotic skill. So that's what are you thinking about? The mixed metaphors?
I'm just laughing. Oh, remember that. People who talk in mixed metaphors can shampoo my crotch. Anyway, listen, I'm laughing because you explained that so well. And what they can't see, because this is auditory, is I began doing a series of hilarious, obscene gestures to try to throw him off.
Yeah.
And Chris actually waved his fist at me
I was about to slap you in the head.
But he didn't. The pattern interrupt didn't work. That was amazing.
I had to hold it together, which is very difficult. Very difficult for me.
We're at work right now, Chris.
So I do want to encourage you to check out the language pattern cards, MikeMandelHypnosis.com/cards. And also for something like $2.99, $3, go to the App Store on your iPhone and punch in Nuvi. Search for Nuvi, Nuvi, by Mike Mandel Hypnosis.
Which is nominalization, unspecified verb induction.
The app is $3, and that $3 gets you free access to the bonus course, which you claim right inside of the app. You claim this bonus course. It's about 45 minutes of amazing video training. We worked really hard to put together a great course. In other words, the app is not very useful to you unless you go through the bonus course first, or you won't know how to use it.
But when you do...
Yeah, you put those two things together, the Nuvi app, that training course, and these Ericksonian cards, and for, well, what does that mean? Under $20, you're basically going to become a hypnotist who has really incredible skills at your fingertips.
Just takes a bit of practice. Thanks, Chris. That's all right. I think it's important stuff. Remember how many times our students in Toronto, at University of Toronto, said, if I just knew this 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it would have made my life so much easier.
So there you go.
Let's go to the Think Tank random word of the day. I generated it before I left Whispering Oaks, our cabin on Bob Lake.
Okay, what's the word,
the word
Mike?
Is car, C-A-R.
Oh, car.
So what does that say to you, Chris?
Well, it's a vehicle to get from point A to point B.
To you, it says Tesla.
A lot of the times, it's funny how a lot of these words, I think back to, I think you had one that was fish or something, like a fish moves through fluid or whatever. I'm always thinking about motion here. And so car, I think of it as a way to get from point A to point B. And if I think back to our target state and present state, the present state tends to be people's stuck state.
Right.
And by throwing resources, of which a car is a resource, it's a way to get from point A to point B, you have to know where you're going in order to get there.
Yeah, that's nice. And of course, with a car, you can travel with other people as well.
Yes.
So as you learn these skills, you can bring other people along with you to your destination and help them have better lives. I mean, honestly, guys, despite all the kidding around that Chris does, we really think you didn't even question that.
No, I didn't question it at all.
Despite all the kidding around that Chris does, I'll say it again for the humor.
Yeah.
We really do want you to have great lives. I mean, honestly, we have amazing lives, and you have access to all the same stuff we do to have incredible lives of health and wellness and fun all the time.
Yeah, I was thinking back to, I think in Vegas, you started off the class by explaining, one of the classes, I should say, about what happens if you give up 1 hour of TV a day.
Yeah, 1 hour a day.
And explain to the class. I was watching, because I think it's the first time we've done that in a live group for a while. And there were at least 100 people in that room. And you said, if you cut 1 hour of TV out of your life and learn other things in that time, you actually get 9 40-hour work weeks of spare time, and imagine what you can learn. And you should, I don't know if you were noticing, but so many people just nodded their head in amazement going, whoa,
that's a heck of a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. So my point in bringing this up is Mike and I aren't special in any way. We just don't waste a lot of time on the crap in life.
We apply the stuff.
Very much value becoming smarter and better and whatever, funnier.
Nice. And as you apply the word car to that, Chris, as you go through life, metaphorically, what kind of car do you want to go through life in? You want to go through life in a Model T or a Tesla?
I want to go through life in a Tesla.
Forester.
Awesome.
What is your transport? That's great.
All right, let's talk about what happened with you in the last couple of weeks. I understand you worked on a case of warts.
I worked with a couple of twins, identical twins, who both had virtually identical warts on their feet between the first and second and third toes in the webbing. Very severe. They showed them to me. And they said, is it true that hypnosis can get rid of warts? And I said, yes, I've seen it happen. It's been well established for over 100 years. We don't know how it works. The original idea was, since the warts are caused by the human papilloma virus, if you are getting the warts to disappear, you must be causing the global immune system to attack the warts with antibodies, killer T cells, whatever. That isn't the case, though, because you can have the warts just on one hand disappear, and the global immune system is not that specific. So I think it is actually choking off the capillaries, American capillaries, but capillaries is correct, of the blood to the warts and having them die off. So they were very intrigued by this. Now, here's what I did do, and then I want to tell you what I wish I had done instead. So I decided to talk to the one. I worked with the one first and established eye contact, began to speak in intersect her and get her locked on me hypnotically. I did Bob Burns' Swan with her.
Nice.
Put her hand up on the elbow, got the swan, and sure enough, the swan, the hand, started answering me with idiomotor signals, and she was really surprised and laughing. And I said, I wonder if that swan can turn and look at you. And she looked at her hand and watched and she was just freaked out. It turned and looked at her and gave a wave. And then I asked the swan about, if it was willing to remove this wart problem. It took a moment. It said yes. And I asked it to do the process, and that was it. Awesome. Now, with the other twin, I opted to do a PGO spike instead. So I did my REM induction, got her to stick her neck stock still, having the same effect. And remember, shutting down the motor neurons, the pontine tegmentum of the brain, and then have her follow my finger in the REM pattern, suddenly fired a PGO spike. She just went, whoom. She was sitting on a couch and fell right on her side, was like pretty well out cold on the couch, at an angle. But because it was quick, I left her like that and just gave direct suggestions about destroying this wart and making sure they're gone forever. So then she came out of it, was really surprised, and so on. Here's what I wish I had done. I wish I had worked with just one of the identical twins to get rid of her warts and seen if the intentionality enough would have been sufficient to cause the other one's warts to disappear as well.
That would have been freaky if that actually happened. But there you go.
So, of course, a few years from now, that'll be the story that's what did happen.
Yeah, I want to point out, too, that Mike and I have a habit when we learn something new, a new tool like the arrow technique from the Jack Wins or whatever it is, we like to throw it at a client, even if we don't think it's necessarily the perfect solution,
right,
because it's the way to practice it, right? And so in the past, you would have probably approached this wart solution without using the swan because you did not know the swan.
Yep.
But since you recently gifted a copy of the Swan by Bob Burns and you went through it and liked it and thought, hey, let's use this as the idiomotor method to apply the change work.
Yes, and it was my first use of the swan. I loved using it. Yeah. Just as you remember, Chris, when I read Richard Hill's book, Mirroring Hands, that Ernest Rossi co-authored with him. I wrongly said it was Rossi alone and apologized profusely. But when I read his book on Mirroring Hands, I wanted to apply it right away.
And you did.
You did in our academy.
That's right.
To deal with an anxiety case.
Right.
And it's a beautiful tool as well.
I very much remember that, yes.
Yeah.
So use the stuff that you learn.
Yeah, practice. Get good at all of this stuff.
They say if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Yeah,
and I suppose that's probably true with hypnotic techniques as much as it is with cooking skills or
Let's hope it's not
playing
true
guitar
about,
or whatever.
About everything.
Yeah. All right. The other thing we wanted to do is actually...
I'm back.
What is it time for now? Is it time for a word from our sponsors?
Well, let's have
Mike?
a look. I think it is, Chris. Yes. Okay, so now let's go to a message from our sponsors tonight on the Gus Grissom Network.
Sally and Todd are a typical pair of newlyweds from Scranton, Illinois, who've moved to Intercourse, Pennsylvania in search of some real nice real estate and a new life together. But things start out badly. On the very first day in their new home, Sally burns the toast twice, and Todd slices off his penis with a lawnmower. Just when it seems like things couldn't possibly get worse, Sally loses her favorite pair of sunglasses, and Todd gets a medical bill for $2 million from his penisologist. The young couple is devastated. But the next morning, Sally and Todd discover that the tree on their lawn has bloomed. Tonight at 8 p.m., experience the remarkable When the Lawn Tree Blooms.
I looked out of my room.
He looked out of his room.
And then the lawn tree blooms.
Yeah, the lawn tree blooms.
And the lawn tree blooms. The lawn tree blooms. And the lawn tree blooms. And the lawn tree blooms. Gonna happen quite soon.
Yeah, it'll happen quite soon.
In the month of June.
In the month of June.
With my pet raccoon. true when the lawn tree blooms and the lawn tree blooms.
All right, Mike. Now, as everyone knows on this podcast, we are huge fans of weird, context-free humor, and I believe you have something for us, don't you?
I do, Chris. I have a PGO spike intervention I used many, many years ago. I'm thinking 30-plus years ago. I call it the grease it down imperative, which is it's really funny, and you know the story.
I know it. It's
I was on a fishing trip with two guys, one of whom I knew as my next-door neighbor quite well. The other guy I'd only just met. His name was Larry. And he was barbecuing one day, and he was just talking about something aimlessly. And the key is you hit them with a PGO spike in the middle of them talking with complete intention, point at them and freak them out. I just suddenly pointed at them and yelled, "Grease it down." He went, "What? I don't know what you're..." I said, "Grease it down." He went, "But what?" I yelled, "Grease it down." He went, "Okay, man, I'll grease it down. I'll grease it down." He still didn't have a clue what I was talking about. The point is I wasn't talking about anything. But because it is so noteworthily strange, I recommend our listeners just go up to someone who's talking normally, point at them and suddenly yell, "Grease it down," staring at them with absolute intention, and just keep yelling it and see what happens.
How important is it though that he was at a barbecue or a grill where grease is an issue?
It could be anything. He could be ordering a burger at a counter. He could be shaking a bottle of water. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. You could be pointing out a plane that's passing. Oh, look, there's a jet. Grease it down. It's brilliant. It's hilarious in about 1,000 different ways. Okay.
Right. So we are collecting a very long list of these pattern interrupts, interventions, and PGO spikes that we will put to good use.
Chris wants
at
to do
some
a
point
deck of
in
cards.
the
Maybe
new
we
food.
will.
Yeah, I'm thinking it would be
Let's
hilarious.
talk about William Wood.
Okay, yes. So we don't have a lot of time left, but let's spend a few minutes on this, Mike, and maybe we'll just go a little bit over time.
Okay.
We have a really good friend named William Wood. He lives in Utah, and we see him at Hypnothoughts.
Originally from Alaska, yeah.
We see him at Hypnothoughts Live pretty much every year. And he did some really, really incredible and elegant work with both of us.
Yeah. See, Bill is really good at anchoring, and he teaches. He's an NLP trainer. I love his techniques. I'm an NLP trainer too. But as my friend Hugh Comerford, also NLP trainer, says, sometimes the barber needs a haircut. The barber doesn't cut his own hair.
Exactly.
And so I had that wasp sting last year that put me into the hospital with anaphylactic shock and IV and all this stuff. And I ran an Nlp Allergy Cure for wasps on myself. I wasn't sure, though. I wasn't calibrating myself well. I had this doubt that it had worked. And I saw William at Hypnothoughts, and I told him about this. He said, "Well, do you want to get rid of it?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "Have you got time now?" I said, "Sure." So we went up to my room, moved the furniture back so I could stand and walk around. He ran the whole process with me, and he muscle tested me and got me to say, "I'm fully over this." And I tested weak.
Yeah.
Right away. And he confirmed this a couple of times. And then what he got me to do was run the whole process. He's an excellent calibrator.
That's what I noticed too. Yeah.
He noticed heat changes with me and all kinds of things. And what he discovered was when I ran the whole thing and cleared the allergy, he said, "There's still something here." And he found it. What it was he asked me what the doctor had said. And I remember exactly what it was. I was in anaphylactic shock. So I was undergoing a PGO spike. The doctor said, "You're in anaphylactic shock. If this happens again, it will probably be worse and even more dangerous."
Oh, you told me about that.
And I said, and Bill said he put a hypnotic command on you. This is an attribution of his beliefs.
Remember, people, when you are under stress, and being in shock is going to be a good example of that, your critical faculty is essentially offline. And so when somebody with prestige and authority, your doctor tells you that the next time this happens, it will be fast and most likely worse, what do you think that's programming into your unconscious?
So he got me to run that about a dozen times. And each time I run it, he got me to break state, but I re-scripted it. So the doctor was saying to me, he showed me being stung by a wasp, and instead of going to shock, I just shook it off my hand like it was an annoyance.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, "It's nothing. You'll be fine from now on." And we ran that like a dozen times. Then I tested strong.
Awesome.
And he proclaimed me healed.
Yeah. That's an amazing thing, right? Because you actually told me this story about how the doctor explained to you. Of course, both of us are not stressed out when Mike's telling me this story later. He said, after he got stung, I went to the hospital. This happened. And the doctor let me know that I need to be careful because if this happens again, this could be the result. Well, neither of us realized at the moment that you were explaining that essentially this slipped in as a hypnotic command.
You know,
so you
we're
never
like Mandel
know.
and Chris Thompson. We didn't hear it.
There you go.
Good grief.
So that's your experience. My experience with Will is I have some, it's not a major case, but I have psoriasis, a bit in my head and a little patch on my leg. And it's annoying and I would love to have it be gone. Nothing that I have done from a dietary standpoint seems to make any difference. Even the 100 days of no alcohol experiment that I did earlier this summer.
Horrible experiment.
Didn't seem to make any difference whatsoever. Now, without going into a lot of detail, Will worked primarily on the psoriasis, but he took me back to basically being like in my mother's womb, sort of a lot of age regression and again, muscle testing, and a lot of really cool things were happening where my body was getting hot and then cold, and he could feel just because he was anchoring stuff on my arm at the time. And a lot of cool stuff happened. The psoriasis is not gone yet. I think there are more issues to work, and he's offered to work with me still online. But it's probably about 30% better at this point, which is
definitely. I see the difference.
Yeah,
in it. Absolutely.
Which is great. And here's the other cool thing: this was not part of the initial intention, at least for me, but for him, I'm sure he's seen this kind of stuff happen all the time. When he did all this work with me, he essentially caused me to realize a bunch of things about myself that, long story short, I think are going to turn me into a much better person. Specifically, a better listener and somebody who is much more willing to identify his own personality and not just, I'm an Enneagram 9. I tend to model others.
Yeah,
I think
you reflect them.
I think I have grown up all of my life being the middle child and with two sisters on either end of my age. So I had a younger sister and older sister. Still do. They just don't live with me.
Nothing wrong with it.
I think that I grew up always being this skinny little kid who was the middle child and wanted more center of attention. So all my life, if I've been in the middle of telling a story and somebody, let's say, interrupts, oh, that pisses me off so bad, right? And I think he really helped me identify that I need to be a better listener that will help me get what I need in life. And it'll help me be more comfortable in my own skin. And as we were doing this psoriasis intervention, this idea of being comfortable in my own skin, not that I'm not comfortable, but I think there's a degree, a degree of comfort I can still achieve here, and he's helped me to get there. So I want to thank him publicly. This guy's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
If you have a chance to work with Bill Wood, William Wood, I'm not sure what he prefers to be called.
I call him Bill.
Yeah, I just go with the formal William, I suppose. But this guy's amazing. He's very skilled, very good at calibrating.
So we'll keep promoting people like the Jacquins and him and Bob Burns and people who are doing great stuff. Chris, we need to get the empowering question done.
Okay, so here is today's empowering question. Ask yourself, what limitation am I living with? And how will I improve my life when I totally eliminate that limitation? What is that thing that holds me back? And when it's gone, how awesome will I feel?
Excellent. This is powerful stuff, which now leads to the empowering Meta 5.
All right.
And I'm going to tell you, you know this story, so I'm not going to mention the other person's name, but this was told to me in Las Vegas. It's fantastic. Bob Burns and the Prevented Suicide. Bob Burns from Scotland, the creator of The Swan, excellent therapist, funny as hell, great guy to hang out with. He told me this personally. He said, did you ever hear the time that I saved so-and-so's life? He's talking about another hypnotist and hypnosis trainer, who I won't name. And I said, no. He said, I had an appointment to see him. I went over to his house and rang the bell, and there was no answer. Thinking I would now go to the side door, he said, I went through the gate, went down to the back of the house, and knocked on the kitchen door. He said, when I looked in, he said, I could see through the window this man's feet. He was lying face down on the floor. He said he immediately thought he must have had a heart attack. And he leaned around the curtain and could see the guy was kneeling with his head and upper body inside the oven. And he recognized the guy was killing himself by gassing himself to death with the oven, which is a fairly common thing, apparently. Bob's a big guy, and he's Scottish. He puts the boot to the door, smashes the door in, bursts into the kitchen, grabs this guy by the ankles, hauls him out of the oven. And when he comes out, he has a tiny piece of plastic between his fingers and looks at Bob in shock. It wasn't the oven. He was fixing his dishwasher.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to episode 109 of our Crazy Brain Software podcast. Make sure you head on over to MikeMandelHypnosis.com. You can sign up for the Brain Software ebook, which is amazing. You'll also get an offer for the video series of the Brain Software course, which is phenomenal. And for all of our upcoming live events, make sure to go to MikeMandelHypnosis.com/events. And you'll hear from us again in episode 110.
Thanks again.
Soon. And good night.
There was a woman staying at home, and that poor girl, she was all alone. Her husband had a shirt that was much too small, and the children were screaming and running in the hall. And I say, Jenny, 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 why not go across the tracks to that biker bar, and then around the back behind the pool hall, that small specialty shop over there where they sell the booze, and right down below it into that secret place and pick up a smooth one for yourself.